Being emotionally intelligent means that you can manage your emotions and feelings so that they are positive and constructive rather than negative and destructive factors when making judgments and taking actions. Although emotions generate feelings, your feelings influence your emotions so that the two are in a never-ending cycle of interaction. You've altered the cycle, for example, when you were sad, which is an emotion, and a friend told you to think of your favorite person or place that makes you happy, which is a feeling. You are using the feeling of happiness to bring you out of your sadness. The interactive cycle is where your conscious thinking about feeling plays an important role in whether you simply react or consciously respond to any problem or situation. When you react, you are acting on the instincts of your emotions. When you respond, you're making a conscious choice to act in a particular way based more on your feelings. So how do you manage your emotions and feelings to help you respond instead of react? It's all about controlling the gap between your emotions and associated feelings. If you want to control your behavior, you need to manage the interaction between emotions and feelings. For behavior is born out of that interaction. You manage the interaction by reflecting on the problem, your feelings, and your behavior. By taking a moment to simply think about what you're feeling, your behavior becomes an act of reflection, not of instinct. Think of the moment of silence as filling the gap with reflection and self-awareness. When you leave the gap unfilled, you're letting your instincts dictate your behavior. How much understanding are you allowing yourself if you are instinctually reacting to what you hear and see? If you take time to consciously understand what feelings you're experiencing, you can respond with actions that are better than any off-the-cuff reactions. An additional benefit of focusing on the gap is that your behavior can, in turn, influence the way you're feeling. Let's use the emotion of fear as an example. Fear can generate the feeling of panic, which can cause a person to cower. When we think about the way we acted, it can create the emotions of sadness and disgust that generate the feeling of shame. It's a cycle that I don't think anyone wants to ride on. What, on the other hand, causes a person to act courageously in the face of fear? For remember, courage does not happen in the absence of fear, but in overcoming it. It begins by thinking about the gap between fear and the associated feelings of panic or anxiousness. You can change the way you feel about your fear and its resulting behavior of cowering by turning it into a feeling that can build your courage. We all can choose what feeling is associated with an emotion in any given moment. And I try to assign the feeling of focused excitement when confronted with fear. When I rappelled from a 50-foot tower the first time in the military, for example, I have to overcome my fear of heights. Yes, I was fearful of heights. Instead of allowing the feeling of panic to wash over me, I focused on the steps I was trained to do while on the ground and saw it as an opportunity. I get really excited about opportunities to prove to myself that I could do more than my fears would allow. By focusing on the emotion-feeling gap, you can change your mindset from one that can cause problems to one that solves them. You never have to act on a feeling if you don't want to, as long as you take time to reflect on the gap. The simple moment of reflecting about your feelings and emotions helps you to comprehend a problem in ways that can lead you to successfully overcome it. Modern science, especially neuroscience, has clearly shown the importance of emotions and feelings for attaining a rational understanding of any problem. Commander Spock of Star Trek was one of my heroes growing up. Literally, I loved Commander Spock. I always believed that if I had his logic, his rationality, and understanding, I could overcome any problem that I or my crewmates of the starship known as Huckleberry Hill Elementary School could possibly face. One of my problems, however, was that I was never any good at excluding my emotions from decision making. I was more like Captain Kirk in that regard, and the irony is that neuroscience has recently shown that understanding and rationality are actually based on emotions. Yes, understanding and rationality are actually based on emotions. From studies on people who lost part of their brain's prefrontal cortex to researchers at the University of Toronto testing how emotions influence vision, neuroscientists are constantly showing that emotion affects every aspect of cognition. Indeed, without emotion, you and I will find it difficult to be rational.